Hello, people of the internet, and welcome to another anime review. I haven't actually done one of these in quite a long time. In fact, I can't remember the last one I did. I'm pretty sure it was Gridman, or anything that wasn't part of the...
it was Goblin Slayer.
Goblin Slayer, right. Well, yeah, anything outside of the fully endorsed podcast that I do with Dylan. Yeah, it was Goblin Slayer and Gridman. But speaking of Goblin Slayer, this is another anime that has been recommended to me personally by one of my co-hosts here, that being Crookedlore.
Is that me?
I think so.
Oh, thank God. I thought it was going to be someone else. I was scared.
Well, speaking of someone else, we have ourselves another individual who has joined us today, and that is another person who I've seen quite a number of times here on the channel already, coming in from the E3 podcast that I did recently alongside Ace, is Random.
I am one of Aphrodite's tits.
He's fat and soft.
Hells yeah.
So, for this episode, we are going to be talking about a recent anime that was added to Netflix based on a manga that started in 2017, that being Record of Ragnarok, or as it's known in Japan, Shumatsu no Warukyure, all translated roughly to Valkyrie's Doomsday. And so this is a rather interesting piece of media that was introduced to me, I want to say late last year, by Crookedlore here. And so I'm very curious to start things off with with your introduction, given that you're the one who kind of single-handedly got this ball rolling as you introduced both Random and I to this particular ongoing series. So how did you come to learn of Record of Ragnarok?
Well, it's kind of a funny story. Well, I tell you a lot. I'm a fan of the Fate series, so I get a lot of videos that are kind of related to it. Mm-hmm. One of them was a edited version of the fight between Jack the Ripper and Hercules from Record of Ragnarok. Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of ignoring it because it was like 4 hours long, mm-hmm. and I didn't have enough time for that. But I found a shorter one that piqued my interest a little bit more: Adam versus Zeus. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, where the fuck is this going? After I watched it, I sent it to you, going, "Dude, check out Adam's intro." And then you were like, "Okay, this fight's amazing. You don't have to watch the whole fight. Fuck you. I'm watching the whole fight."
Right. I was like, I can't stop at this point. and just to let everyone know, this video was just like they took all the panels from the manga and sort of created somewhat of like an animatic per se, just putting like image after image and syncing it up with like appropriately epic music. And you're essentially like watching the manga in video form, which was really impressive. If any, do you know who uploaded or made those videos, Will?
Sadly, I did not, and their videos were taken down a while back. And they were brought back a couple of times, but they keep on going down.
I see. Oh, that makes sense, given that it is like copyrighted material right there, using actual clips from the manga just to read the manga. It's not like you're making like a review and you're using images to make your point.
Yeah, but they had all the fights of the first season along with the Jack the Ripper versus Hercules one.
And you've yet to see that actually. You've yet to see that actually, or have you read that series?
No, I did. Oh no, I did. I did see that after watching the other ones because I wanted to watch it in order.
Okay, then.
Then I started reading the manga.
And so, do you own any physical copies of the manga, or have you read it all digitally?
Sadly, I've been kind of reading them all digitally, mainly like YouTube, because there's still a lot of people that actually try to edit them like that. Mm-hmm. Because it's really hard to actually find physical English copies of it.
Really? Now, not even at your local bookstores?
Yeah, it looks like so far we only have one volume. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I actually checked, but there's like no. It doesn't go very far, as it.
Oh, actually, yeah. Apparently, Record of Ragnarok, the manga, was licensed in North America by Viz Media last month, June 2021. So they only barely released the manga to coincide with the anime's release on Netflix.
Right.
All right, then. So, yeah. So everything that you and I have read so far have been scanlations, essentially.
Right.
All right, then. And so, Random, how were you introduced to Record of Ragnarok?
Well, I remember you guys were saying like you mentioned it to me, like, hey, do you want to watch this series of us? And I was like, yeah, because I'm up for trying out new things and seeing what things are like. And I'm like, yeah, sure, what's up? I purposely didn't look anything up because I wanted to be surprised, because I have this nasty habit of looking online for things. I mean, you can blame Undertale for this, but like, hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
All right, because like ever since Undertale, it's like, do not look up spoilers, just go in surprised. So, I went into the thing blind and you gave me a rough idea what it was about, and I was like, yeah, fighting anime, I'll definitely watch that. And I watched, I'm presuming we're saving our thoughts for the moment, but I will say I like what I saw, but essentially I didn't know much about it. I haven't read the manga. I'm thinking about looking into that if I can find a copy of it somewhere, but yeah, it seemed like a lot of fun.
All right, awesome. And just curious, do you guys have like over in London, or like not London, fucking England, or like the greater UK? Sorry about that. In the greater within like England or the UK, who usually like what are some like companies that distribute manga over in your neck of the woods?
Well, when I used to buy it, it was. Are you talking about like publisher, or where just stores you get it from?
I guess I meant to say publishers, because for us we would get companies like Viz Media, or what's the other? Hey Will, what's
Dark
the other
Horse?
company? Dark Horse sometimes, yeah. Or there's usually a few other like American publishing companies that specialized in translating.
Seven Seas Entertainment, I think that's one.
Seven
They
Seas.
do a lot of light novels too.
Yeah.
I haven't checked personally, but I do recall Viz Media being one of them, because normally I usually get manga and anime from bookstores. Well, I get anime from DVD stores, but I usually get manga from bookstores, and Forbidden Planet being one of them. So I don't know who supplies it, but I know where you can get it from, though.
Okay, then, yeah. I've always been curious as to know, like, if you guys have like different companies, or like the UK branch of the same company we have, which I guess we have Viz on both sides of the ocean.
I know Dark Horse did a lot of like I know for example, like Dark Horse had a lot of comic books and DVDs were distributed under that label, but I think it might. I mean, if I were to look it up, it might be Viz, but I'm going to say either Viz or Dark Horse. Okay,
then. I know Dark Horse currently does Astro Boy. Let's see. All right, then. So you've had like the least information going into Record of Ragnarok, that being no information.
Well, because like I said, I wanted to be surprised, because I didn't. It was just I wanted to sort of, because it's better that way if you don't know much about it. That way your reactions are more genuine.
Oh, yeah.
If you know everything, if you know everything that's coming, it's not as memorable.
Right, especially when, to be honest, Record of Ragnarok is a very simple show with not a lot happening in this first season, which comprised of, I want to say, what was it, 12 episodes, 24-minute episodes.
And 3 fights.
3 fights. So yeah, the basic plot of this is that every 1,000 years, all the gods from all the different mythologies come together to decide on the fate of humanity. They figure that after 7 million years of human history, that they decided, you know what, the humans, they've had a good run, but they're a bunch of fuck-ups, so let's wipe them all out and start all over again.
They seen what we've done with Marvel Comics and realized we weren't needed anymore.
So we have Brunhilde or Brunhilde? How do you pronounce her name?
In the anime, it's pronounced Brunhilde. I can pronounce it Brunhilde.
Right, yeah. I'm wondering if Brunhilde is like the German pronunciation. It sounds German.
Yeah.
But Brunhilde actually is in myth. She actually is one of the Valkyries.
Yes, so she is the oldest, the leader of the Valkyries, and so she says, hold just 1 minute there, gods. What if we were to have ourselves a giant tournament where 13 of the most powerful humans across history fights 13 of the most powerful gods in one-on-one duels to the death, and whoever reaches 7 victories first will decide the fate of humanity. And so the gods were like, you know what? That sounds fun. Let's fucking do this. Let's fucking go right now.
Let's go right now. Bring it on, you little wank.
The Celtics also joined in, as I can see.
Fuck yeah.
Well, then, you little wank stain.
right, humanity, you little wank stains. We're going to fucking wipe you off the face of existence, but this Brunhilde bitch over here says you deserve a fighting chance, so here's the
that is essentially Record of Ragnarok in a nutshell. It's just fight after fight after fight between man and god.
Lock and all that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that is pretty much what you get. It's like what you see is what you get. And one of the things I was really taken aback by was just how straightforward of a story this was. That like right off the bat, they're like, here are the gods, here are the Valkyries, and then like it feels like almost within seconds they're already at the tournament. It's not like Dragon Ball Super where they have like an entire mini arc dedicated to gathering all the fighters and then proceeding into the tournament. It's like, nope, here we go right now.
Now there was actually a scene that was cut from the manga that took place before the actual first fight, which was actually Thor confronting Brunhilde about this idea.
Oh, really now? Okay.
Yeah.
And
a lot of times they introduce the gods before they're introduced the human fighters.
Okay, then. So essentially for this first season, we are given the first 3 matches, those being Lubu versus Thor, Adam versus Zeus, and Kojiro Sasaki versus Poseidon. Yes. And they, at the very end of the season, they teased Jack the Ripper versus Hercules.
Which was the biggest fight of the series. In fact, I think it's what was his claim to fame.
Oh, really? Now, okay. You mean for the series? That's the thing that at that which point that's when the manga started getting popular over in Japan.
Because it really also helped with that those edits I told you about that they did. That's what really drew attention to the series because that was the first one they did.
Okay, yeah, and that's what led to that 4-hour video as opposed to the Adam versus Zeus like 50-minute video, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then. I'm really, honestly, I was, like, very surprised by just how simple and straightforward this series was, especially after what you described this manga to me as it was just nothing but fights. It's just kind of like, they take your typical standard anime tournament arc and just, like, condensed it into its core essential aspects, and that is just giving you these, like, brutal, no holds barred smackdowns.
I see more as like a tournament, but each fight's its own story.
I did detect that, yeah. When I was first introduced to the Adam versus Zeus story, I was pretty impressed that they managed to tell you each fighter's entire backstory, in over the course of the flashbacks, but also over the course of a single fight. And that is also translated here as well, for better and for worse, which I'll get into later. So, I do have to say, this, in my opinion, this story here definitely really, like, kind of, in a way, breaks the rules of how storytelling generally is meant to be told. You know, you're normally supposed to set up your characters and then you're supposed to have the second act that leads then to the third act. But here it's like, nope, here's the fight. There you go. Here are these characters. Let's see them go at each other's throats. And I kind of
there's no plot armor either.
No plot armor. That's a very interesting thing where, like, it's almost kind of like Game of Thrones. You have no idea who is going to make it or not. They may set a character up as like the potential good guy / winner, only for them to have the victory just pulled under the rug like that. Had the rug pulled under them like that. So in a way, I do respect the author. What was it? Shinya Umemura and Takumi Fukui. I got to give a lot of respect to them for being able to do something that's just kind of like bonkers and kind of willing to go in their own direction as opposed to doing what other mangaka generally do. So I'm curious to know what you guys think of this sort of like unorthodox style of storytelling.
James, you want to go first? Or you want me to?
Sure. I'll go first. I was a little confused at first because I was worried there was an episode I missed because it jumped straight into we've decided we're going to kill all humans. Like, wait, whoa, did I miss a season or something? It's like
no, James, the gods are just dicks.
Here's the thing: you missed 7 million years of human history. Which, by the way, I told Will this. Humans haven't been on Earth for 7 million years. If you go back to our earliest ancestors, like Australopithecus, we've barely been around for 1 million years.
Well, in the manga, they mentioned they have caused several apocalypses before.
Okay. So it's like, he gets like, we've decided humanity's gonna be killed, and Brunhilde shows up. She's like, yeah, we're gonna have this tournament. Okay, cool. I figured, all right, I guess we're gonna meet all the fight. Oh, we've already assembled the fighters. Is that Nikola Tesla? It's like,
Yes, Nikola Tesla is going to be in the series, and I can't wait.
That's still, I'm not gonna lie. That just seeing that name, I nearly fucking died of laughter. It's just like, oh yes, got Lu Bu, Jack the Ripper, Nikola Tesla.
Yeah. Now,
what's he gonna do? Light bulb them to death?
Yeah. Fun fact I found out about all the human fighters. All of them kind of borderline into legends than just being historical figures. Because Nikola Tesla was believed to have built a doomsday device. Leonidas was supposedly the son of either Zeus or Ares.
And then Buddha is, of course, Buddha.
Yeah, Buddha's fucking Buddha.
Yeah.
And he dresses like a friend we know.
Yes. I see that. I was like, oh god.
I'm glad the UK got a nod with Jack the Ripper. That makes me smile.
Right. I mean, okay. So, what was as an Englishman? What was your reaction to seeing Jack the Ripper at the very end?
It's just like, I mean, just going through the list was things like, Lu Bu, you had the samurai guy I've never personally heard of, and then seeing Jack the Ripper, it's just like, the fuck? And the design was, not too, I'm more used to. Did you ever see Batman Gotham by Gaslight?
Yes.
Yes, I'm familiar with that.
That depiction, like the black top hat, the long flowing cloak, and like the concealed face, that's what I'm used to. Yet for some strange reason, they gave him a bright red suit and he's got a V for Vendetta mask on. I was just staring at like, what?
I think that was meant to be like a reference to Anonymous, since Jack the Ripper was known. Oh yeah.
Right,
that's initially what the mask is based on, Guy Fawkes.
Right, yeah. Who was like the original like rebel against the British system, right?
Yeah.
Now,
I mean, if you're gonna go with like British lore, like why not throw Blackbeard in there while you're at it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Blackbeard would have been awesome. But I can only imagine that like the mangakas, the two writers are just like really huge like history buffs, or like they're really into particular individuals from certain histories. Because like once you get to something like Lu Bu and Kojiro Sasaki, like they're just making shit up at that point. Essentially,
well, Kojiro Sasaki, he is actually pretty popular and used a lot in manga. He's actually one of the first servants used in the Fate series.
Oh, okay. But it's like, they say like, oh, here's what history knows of Kojiro Sasaki, but here's what you don't know. Here's the real story behind Kojiro. It's like, okay, now I know this is made up.
Yeah, so they go a lot deeper with the human characters than they do the gods, because the gods list are pretty much the main gods everyone knows. You got Anubis, you got Zeus, Odin, all the big ones, while the human ones, you get Nostradamus, you get Rasputin.
Oh, I want to see what they do to Rasputin.
Some people think he's going to fight Anubis, and I think that'd be cool.
I still want to see Blackbeard in there. He's a fellow Bristol boy. He needs to get in there. goddammit.
I want Butch Cassidy. That'd be cool.
I want Pancho Villa.
It's like people say, oh, they talk with a pirate accent. No, it's a Bristolian accent, you twat.
Oh, there is something I do want to bring up for the English dub of this, because that reminded me. Almost all the English voice actors are the races of the characters they're voicing.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Normally, I don't like that, but when it comes to a show like this, it works out. I think it works out nicely.
Okay.
A little like cultural, like little attention to detail sort of thing.
Yeah,
definitely. So I guess
did anyone else get any Heihachi vibes from Zeus?
Yes.
Let's see. Oh, you're right. For me, I was mostly getting Master Roshi vibes. It's like this is just like the evil mirror universe of Master Roshi, the Owlman to Master Roshi's Batman.
See, now I'm picturing Master Roshi inheriting the Mishima Zaibatsu, and I'm just dying on the inside. Replace all their weapons divisions with tits, and I just think yes. Yes. Hey, Harada, Dragon Ball Z Cross Tekken when? The game will have 2 Vegetas in it.
Let's see. So looking down the list of fighters here, so I mentioned before that this initial season features Lu Bu, Adam, and Kojiro Sasaki from the human side. And for the next fighters, they introduced this into the... It's not really spoilers because they just straight up showed you the entire list of who's going to be involved in this tournament. So afterwards, we're going to have Jack the Ripper, a sumo wrestler named Raiden Tamemon, Buddha, Qin Shi Huang, who is, I guess, the founder of the Qing dynasty, and the first emperor to unify China, according to Wikipedia. Simo Haiha, who is a Finnish sniper from the 20th century.
That one I'm excited to see the fight of, because apparently he might be fighting Apollo, who is well known for using a bow and arrow.
Oh, a sniper versus an arrow man. All right.
That'd be cool.
Next, we got Nikola Tesla, who, of course, was the guy who sort of invented electrical machinery before Thomas Edison stole this shit. Really? Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well, wait, I'll get to that. So we got Soji Okita, who is, like, again, according to Wikipedia, captain of a special police force from 19th century Japan, famed for his swordmanship. So he's literally a police with a sword from the 1800s Japan.
And he's actually appeared in the manga.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He hasn't fought yet, but he has appeared.
Oh, all right. I didn't even know that. We have Nostradamus, French astrologer.
I'm excited to see
why
how
is he
that.
there?
I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, he just looks at...
going to predict I get my ass kicked.
Because here's the thing. Both Buddha and Adam kind of already have powers to predict things or see things in the future. So I'm kind of curious how they're going to do him, since he is the fortune teller, basically.
He's just a nerd who looks at stars with telescopes.
Someone said, I hope he saw this fight was going to be coming, so for years he's been training for it.
Let's see. Next we got...
They get the best of humanity, they don't get bloody Hulk Hogan or John Cena.
Aw. Yeah, there's no... Like, the most recent people are from, like, the early 20th century. Nobody from late 20th century or 21st century.
Yeah, I think the most recent human is Nikola Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't get over that.
Oh no! We the Simo Haiha, the Finnish sniper.
Yeah, he's the most recent.
Yeah, apparently he was recognized, again from Wikipedia, recognized as the deadliest marksman in history for killing over 500 men during the Winter War from 1939 to 1940, which lasted less than 100 days. So this guy's got an amazing kill count here. He killed 150 men. Let's see. He's the guy that everyone who plays Call of Duty strives to be. Next, we have another Japanese individual. Can you tell which country these Japanese writers have a bias towards?
See, I felt that when I watched it. It's like the two non-Japanese humans die, and then the season ends with the Japanese guy winning. Oh, what a surprise!
It won't be that one-sided. It's a bit of spoilers, but yeah, it's not going to be that one-sided. Trust me.
Oh, good.
Let's see. We got Sakata Kintoki, a Japanese folk hero from the Heian period. No idea what that individual is all about.
Yeah, I never heard of that one.
Yeah, we have Rasputin, who is, according to Wikipedia...
Rasputin, Russian queen.
I was thinking of that song.
They better fucking sing that when he shows up.
Right.
That's what I want his intro to be, him singing that. And I want him to be voiced by Tim Cummings. Jim Cummings.
Or it's going to be like the Moscow,
He better do the fucking dance.
He's got to do the Russian dance. Let's see. And finally, we have Leonidas.
I love the fact that song was sung by a German band.
Right. And then, like, the Rasputin song was sung by, I believe, like a Jamaican band, I think. I could be wrong. I could be wrong there.
And Russia's like, what are you trying to say? What is you trying to say to us?
Let's see. And finally, for the last human representative, we have Leonidas, a Spartan from who everyone may know from he was portrayed
Frank Miller's 300.
Frank Miller's 300 and the Zack Snyder film of the same name. So I'm pretty psyched for that.
People think he's going to be the last human fighter. He's going to fight Odin.
Oh, okay.
That'd be a badass fight. I won't lie.
Yeah, and you know what? Knowing how this tournament arc is how anime tournament arcs generally go, I have a feeling that neither side is going to win 7 victories early. They're going to keep fighting. It's going to be a tie, and then like the very last 13th fight is going to be like the deciding
fight already
factor.
made it kind of like there's already going to be an extra fight. I'm not going to spoil it, but gets kind of funny when it comes to Buddha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's see. Next up, we have for the god side, we have Thor showing up, kind of looking more Greek than Norse, surprisingly enough.
He looked more like
I like the
Sephiroth.
hammer design.
Yeah, he kind of does look like a redheaded Sephiroth, only instead of a big fuck off samurai sword, he's got a giant fuck off hammer.
Yeah. That wasn't a hammer. That was like a stick attached to a current Xbox.
Yeah, and then at the end of his fight, for some reason, he had Sadako hair covering his face,
Oh yeah, that's true.
which kind of looked badass. I won't lie.
Next up, we had Zeus, who we mentioned before is like Heihachi.
The best character.
It's very, very interesting that with these with Zeus and Poseidon, they introduce them as like these are like the most powerful of the Greek gods, and they set up Zeus early on as like the voice of the gods, or the mouthpiece for the gods. So it's really surprising that like they kind of set him up as like a final boss sort of deal, only to throw him in right at the start, him and his brother right at the start. So I do give them the writers props for like a subversion of expectations there. Let's see. Yeah.
I absolutely just love Zeus's design. I don't know why. I think it's just because it's not what you expect of Zeus.
I guess so, yeah. Usually they do show him as like this big, strong, like bearded man akin to like Hercules Zeus. But
you're right. He's kind of like a sadistic Master Roshi. Which, if you're gonna base him off an anime character, what better character would you base Zeus off of?
Yeah,
and, I do really like.
Old man.
And I do really like what they do with his eyes, because they're like constantly shrouded in shadow. And so all you ever see in his eyes are just his pupils. And it makes for some really disturbing imagery.
I also love his English voice actor. That's pretty much how I imagine him sounding.
Yeah. According to Wikipedia, it's Chris Edgerly who's the voice. Although for a while we kept thinking that it must have been like your pal,
Barry
Andel, yeah. But yeah,
I was hoping, because I don't know why. I just wanted him to be. I think he could have done the voice for Zeus perfectly. But I won't lie. I do like the voice we got.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Apparently, the company that did all the voice work was a localization company that does a lot of Netflix anime. Meanwhile, I believe your friend Barry does Funimation roles. Yeah,
but he also voiced in that Zhang Zia movie I like as well, which I don't think was done by Funimation. So he does do other type of dubbing. I'm not sure how it necessarily works, because I do know that you have to work with certain branches. Yeah.
Let's see. Next up, who's shows up next is going to be Hercules. And seeing the version of Hercules at the end of the season, he pretty much looks like what I expect out of a Greek hero. Yeah,
kind of a shonen hero look to him.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Next up, we have Hermes, who we see chilling out with Zeus a lot. Kind of dressed up as this sort of like, I don't want to say, like sort of like kind of dresses like a butler, I want to say.
I was thinking that.
Yeah. But I'm surprised, considering Hermes is a trickster god. I thought they kind of play a bit more into that, but I guess when you have Loki, who's also in the series, you kind of don't want to repeat the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
It's like when you've got the Joker in your story, you can't have the Riddler be too much like him, so you got to do something different with him.
Right. Next up, we have. She's not a fighter, is she? Aphrodite? Or she's
there's no female fighters in the tournament, sadly.
Right.
That's kind of my chief complaint with it. Like, I would have loved to have seen some female fighters in there.
I would have loved Jeanne d'Arc versus Athena. I think that would have been a cool.
Yeah, it's like, really, you're looking for the best of humanity. What, did you lose Joan of Arc's phone number or something?
Yeah, that was a thing that you brought up, and I was like, oh yeah. There are no female fighters here. What the hell?
Then again, she was kind of pro god. I think it would have been awkward for her to fight against the god. I'm pretty sure Christian gods among the gods that hate us.
Well, they could make the argument that the god she's fighting against is she could still like you're not the god I pray to, so or something like that. I don't know, like false gods and that sort of shit.
It does make me wonder if like the Christian or the Judeo-Christian god ever appears in this series, because they do make reference to him several times.
Well, Jesus appears along with Beelzebub.
Oh, right. Yeah. Because like Buddha is considered one of the 4 great sages. It's Buddha, Jesus,
Socrates,
and who was the last one?
He's the one I keep forgetting.
Yeah,
but that's a deep cut, by the way. Not many people actually know of the great sages like that.
Yeah, true. Even if we can only remember 3/4 of them.
But that's
Confucius. It was Confucius.
That's it.
There we go.
Let's see. And it was okay. So as a non-fighter, we have Aphrodite, who is like who's like the biggest in more ways than one thing that the internet took from this series and have made that wonderful meme of her and her like stone golems that she has to sit on and support her massive, huge tracts of land.
She's basically Lady Dimitrescu if Capcom were more honest about themselves.
And so
we know why you're here.
Let's face it, those golems had the best job in the world.
Oh, absolutely.
and they were skinny when they first started, by the way, but that took a lot of effort.
And the funny thing is, like, she's even bigger in the manga.
Oh, yeah, it must have been hard to animate tits that big.
Oh, here's the thing. We're going to get into animation in a bit, but I will say that it's kind of funny for a series that is criticized for its lack of animation. I feel like they put most of the thing that moves more than any other fighter is perhaps her breasts. They're always going to jiggle a bit whenever she finishes
I'm
talking.
sorry, what's more attention grabbing, historical figures fighting gods or tits?
You raise a good question.
I think we both know the answer to that question.
That's why I mix gods and tits.
I was watching this with Deanna. Said when we saw Aphrodite, I turned to her and said, "What's that phrase? Oh, Japan."
And also, the correct name is Aphrodite.
Aphrodite.
And of course, the one, like, not only just like that one still screenshot of like her chest being supported by her golem minions, but this one particular GIF that I'm going to share with Random right now. This is like the one clip that everyone also remembers.
Let's have a look. That's the one.
I'm going to share it with Will right now as well, also on Discord.
I know what it's going to be.
Yeah, just that one moment. It's surprisingly early on in the series. Just her massive bust just like slapping her in the face when there's like this gigantic like wave of energy that spreads throughout the stadium.
Nice.
Yeah, in the manga, for some reason, the golems were trying to cover her face with their own breasts during this scene. Don't look, madam!
Well, they should be like someone should take that GIF and add like a slapping motion when it hits her in the face.
Or do a reverse out of black eye.
Let's see. Afterwards, we have Ares, who is another attendee
now,
in the audience.
Ares, I gotta say, I'm not a big fan of, because I don't like the depiction of Ares being kind of the goofball and all anime, because Ares in Greek myth was always kind of seen as the disgraced god because he was the more violent.
I think maybe that was sort of like the intention, where it's like they know he's supposed to be a violent god in mythology, so they made him like I guess it was meant to be a joke for him to be sort of like constantly drinking tea out of like the tiniest teacup imaginable.
Now, what I did find funny is they did keep him supposed to be being handsome, like in Greek myth, except they made him JoJo level handsome.
Right?
Did anyone get an Arnold Schwarzenegger vibe from him, or is it just me?
Actually, I got handsome Squidward vibes.
It's just like when he showed up, it's just like they gave him like the blonde hair. Like, all was missing was like a thick Arnold accent.
Yeah, it's just
put me in the ring, do it now, I can kill you.
They made him a strong Aryan German.
Yeah. Now his English dub,
I fight Captain if I kill him.
Yeah, his English dub though I think was the worst. It's not what I imagined. This is gonna sound weird. I kind of imagine Zarbon.
Zarbon.
Which one though?
From Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
No, which Zarbon?
Team I don't know why. I think it's because he has the handsome face. I imagine Zarbon.
He's asking you which Zarbon voice.
The Funimation one or the Team 4-Star one?
You know dang well which one.
As could I, Lord Fraser.
Let's see. After that, we
love those parodies, man.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Those guys, Team 4-Star, those guys are fucking legends. If they ever do a record of Ragnarok video, I'd love to see that.
Also, season 4 of Dragon Ball Z Abridged is coming. Stop bullshitting people. You know it's coming. But I digress.
Let's see. Next up, we have another individual who is a future fighter, Shiva. Shiva is a pretty interesting one because this is another thing that that got people talking for a bit, and this was mostly the quote-unquote controversy surrounding this series, and that was apparently a lot of people in India or a lot of people of Indian descent were not fans of how Shiva was portrayed, and so they not only did they remove the trailer to Record of Ragnarok on the Netflix, the Indian version of Netflix, but they just did not show the series at all whatsoever in that country.
Yeah. It's kind of funny when it comes to Shiva because as series go on, Shiva is pretty accurate other than the fact he has 4 arms. That's Vishnu, but it's actually very accurate in legend because, well, the whole reason Shiva wants to destroy humanity because it feels like they cause damage. Shiva in legend was supposed to be the destroyer of evil. You could say in this case he sees humans as evil.
Yeah, and according to here, he is supposed to be a god of destruction. So
yeah, and he is very much loved by the Hindu gods, and even when he was first introduced, the Hindu worshippers of him bow to his presence, even the humans that know he's here to destroy them.
Yeah, so as someone who knows like nothing about Hindu mythology, I cannot speak on behalf of the accuracy of Shiva, but given how everyone else is sort of like a very, like, this is just an adaptation, and people, we've done adaptations of various cultures. We've done adaptations of Greek mythology, Norse mythology, Christianity, Judaism, and I'm assuming this is sort of like when it comes to Muslim culture, you're not allowed to depict Muhammad in any sort of way whatsoever. And I'm wondering,
this is a new controversy. There's been going on for a lot of video games too. Persona had a similar issue. Asura's Wrath.
I remember reading that Overwatch had a similar problem with one of their Hindu characters. Like they had to remove a costume because it referenced like a certain they accused him of like
Knights.
Yeah, I think it was. I don't play the game, but I know there was a character in Overwatch that was of Indian descent, and they created this costume based off. I think it might have been Shiva. I'm not sure. And they said, "Oh, that's offensive. Take it down." Because lol, Twitter.
Or it could be a Twitter thing, or it just could be like certain individuals or certain countries from certain cultures are just more sensitive to that sort of deal.
Group, actually, it seems like it's just one group of
outspoken individuals.
Now, I'm not saying they are the Hindu faith, but it's just like one group
that speaks on behalf of all of them.
Basically, that's why I've seen him. I could be wrong, but I really didn't dive too much in it because I knew this controversy was going to happen. Because, like I said, it happened a lot of times. But,
I guess so.
But I do want to say about Shiva's voice actor. He was the voice of #1 Eddie Brock in the Spectacular Spider-Man and Joseph Joestar.
Wait,
really?
Wait, hold on. Are you talking about the English voice actor or the Japanese?
Yeah, the English voice actor.
Wait,
so,
it was
no. So I'm looking at this thing here, and it's someone named Benjamin Diskin.
Look up. He voiced Eddie Brock in Spectacular Spider-Man and #1.
And as a Mega Man fan, I am actually smiling because he also played Mega Man in Mega Man 11, so that actually makes me smile. Makes me laugh.
Oh shit! You're right. It is.
So now I'm just picturing Mega Man with the power of Shiva. That's hilarious.
He is Mega Man in Mega Man 11.
I didn't know he was Indian. That blew my mind.
That's cool, actually.
Wow. What do you know? And let's see.
So Eddie Brock, Mega Man, and now Shiva. Interesting resume.
Wow, you're right. Yeah, he was #1 from Codename Kids Next Door. Let's see. He was Spider-Ham in Ultimate Spider-Man. Let's see. What else?
I do like his take on Eddie Brock, though. That was it's not my favorite. It's not my favorite incarnation of Eddie Brock because '90s Eddie Brock is still my favorite. But
I was with Milhouse's dad from The Simpsons.
He cost me my job, my reputation, achoo, my health, my apartment.
There's one scene from The Simpsons.
My Netflix account.
There's still one scene from The Simpsons I want to add over that using him and Jameson. So that's it, huh? Years of hard work, and all I get is a thank you. I don't remember thanking you.
It's funny you mentioned. It's funny we mentioned The Simpsons and J.K. Simmons, but he had a cameo in that once, playing J.J. Jameson. I need photos of Spider-Man. Well, this is a poem recital.
Jameson.
It's like, I need photos of Spider-Man, but this is a poetry recital. Fine, then poems about Spider-Man.
Wow, yeah, this guy is pretty much everywhere. Like, he's one of those voice act, huge props to Benjamin Diskin. He's like one of those voice actors who you've heard him I've heard of him throughout my entire life, essentially.
Yeah,
wow. Like I said, I didn't know he was. I didn't know he was Indian when I first heard about Shiva. I was like, that's the first person that didn't match the race of the character. Then I looked out, going, "Oh fuck me, I'm
wrong." Let's see. Moving forward, we have what's this? One of the 4 heavenly kings of Buddhism, that being Bisha Monten. I have no idea who this god is. Apparently, he's a god of warriors and a punisher of evildoers.
Yeah, in the series, he's part of the 7 lucky gods, which is a Chinese deities that I've never heard of that I want to look more into.
Okay. I know that a lot of I'm as a fan of Getorobo, I know that the creator of Getorobo has done quite a bunch of work involving the 4 heavenly kings of Buddhism. So I'm curious.
And then of course the 4 heavenly kings been used in a lot of them. Like Ultraman had the 4 heavenly kings.
Oh really? When did they do that?
Let's see. What was they had the? I forgot. I'm not good with their names, but it had the red one. The red one looks like a crab. The black one, and the last one looked kind of like a skeleton. What was the last one? Had the fan hand.
I don't know that one, unfortunately.
But funny enough, when it comes to that, dude, the color scheme, they're more like the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse more than the heavenly kings, dude. Their colors.
Okay. Next up, we have Susanoo, a god that all 3 of us are familiar with for very different reasons.
Because mine's the best.
Yes. So unfortunately, I have a feeling that this Susanoo is not going to have huge tracts of land, as this is going to be the traditional male version.
Fuck that nonsense.
Yeah. To me, there is only one Susanoo, in my opinion.
And I bet you there's going to be. And I'm pretty there's going to be a lot of people, not a lot of people, maybe there's going to be some fraction of people who are going to be like, oh, Crookedlore just appropriates Asian culture for his own.
Well, to be fair, thanks to me, now there's only one son, Wukong, to Davis.
And to be honest, the people behind Record of Ragnarok do the same thing, appropriating other cultures, gods, and deities, and historical figures. So yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize this podcast was sponsored by Twitter.
Let's see.
I'm so offended by everything.
Wait! I turned into Cartman for some reason.
Well, pretty much.
I'm offended by everything.
I didn't want to say this, since a lot of the human fires are kind of a mix between real historical figures and legends. I was kind of hoping they go a little deeper and use characters that that were believed to exist, but were more legends, like King Arthur.
Oh, that would have been cool.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm glad there's some sort of UK rep in there, but yeah, I'd rather have King Arthur over bloody Jet the Ripper.
Oh, hell yeah. Especially when you're going to have Adam, who, again, scientifically speaking, most likely did not exist. That would have been great to see. If you're going to have Adam from the Bible, might as well have King Arthur.
Might as well throw fucking Sherlock Holmes in there while you're at it.
Ooh, fucking Robin Hood, man.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
One I would absolutely love would be Cuchulainn, the Celtic hero.
You've told me about Cuchulainn, yeah.
I didn't just tell you. I sent you a song telling you his tale.
Oh shit! I gotta show Random this song after we're done, because it's like the most badass, Celtic metal song ever. It's essentially
you had me at metal.
It's essentially, imagine a Celtic Hulk, and Hercules mixed with the Hulk, and that's Cuchulainn.
Technically, it's Achilles mixed with Hulk, since they believe Achilles and Cuchulainn were one and the same.
Yeah. Let's see. Next up on this list of gods, we have Odin. Odin actually appears in this series, and I
really like his design.
Yeah, I do.
He is a scary motherfucker, that one.
And I love that he rarely talks, and when he does, it's like one of those oh shit moments.
Yeah.
He's
I also like
he's
how-
that guy from The Simpsons. He's like, the little guy hasn't done anything yet, but you know it's going to be great.
The little guy hasn't done anything yet, Marge. You know it's gonna be something cool.
And then, like, he has his two crows, which do all the talking for him, essentially.
They're ravens, Andres.
Sorry, ravens.
That
Like,
worried me at first because he's this badass looking character. And he has like these talking Disney sidekicks. I'm like,
But actually,
Ragnarok, Ragnarok, where are you going with this?
But what's cool about that is that Hugin and Mugen, the ravens, are actually meant to be kind of spies for Odin. Basically, they tell him things that they've learned. So basically, it's kind of a reverse in this, where they speak for Odin.
Okay, then. So rather than being his eyes, they are his mouthpiece.
Yeah.
Okay. And next up, sitting next to Odin, we have the one and only Loki. And I feel like this version of Loki really, really does live up to sort of like the legend of this like very sort of messed up, maniacal trickster. And just like, he's just all around creepy.
Yeah, I love this Loki. He's kind of like L from Death Note, especially the way he sits.
That's true. He does kind of sit in that like crouch position. And this guy always
I'm just looking up his voice because I think I want to see if it's who I think it is.
Let's see. According to the Wikipedia, it's Ryan Colt Levy, who doesn't have a wiki page, but trying to see.
I think I found. Because I found him on IMDb. I want to see if he's who I think he is. Because if it is, then I know a voice when I hear it. So
let's see.
Yeah, I kind of have a love-hate relationship with his voice, though.
Really? Well, what's the deal here?
I like how it sounds sometimes, but I don't know. It just it sounds too childish. It does kind of add to the creepiness, but I think it focuses too much into the childish tone.
Okay, then. For me,
it's not who I thought it was. Don't worry.
Okay, so I found out that he did do a role in JoJo Part 5. He did a character called Squallow. I'm going to show Will who this character was, because he's one of those like minor one-off villain characters. Let's see. But for me, what I find interesting with him is that like he always sounds like he gets off to the violence that he sees on in the tournament. And I think that kind of helps add to his sort of like messed up mentality where he just gets overly excited every time there's bloodshed, and like he almost like fancies the thought of certain individuals winning, and he's like supposedly like really good at predicting who is going to win the match. And just send you the image of Squallow.
Yeah, but that definitely changes by the end of the first season.
Oh yeah, he just like loses his shit when Kojiro actually wins, and he's like, okay, this guy's fucking dead. How dare he fucking proves me wrong?
Actually, I did say that I will admit the line he gave off at the end was really creepy. This joke stopped being funny.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
And let's see. After Loki, we have some other characters that I don't think we've seen before. We have Heimdall, who is a Norse god.
Yeah, we've seen Heimdall. He's the host.
We did?
He's the narrator.
Oh wait. Oh, he's like the announcer guy, right?
Yeah, which I absolutely love because Heimdall's job in Norse myth was to blow the horn of Ragnarok.
Oh, and he's like so excited. Like he's like, yes, I can finally blow this horn. God damn it!
I've been used to like the MCU version, so it was kind of a twisted shock at first.
Yeah, I absolutely love his character. I think he's a great character to use as a host.
Oh, he's super fun, very energetic.
Yeah, though I don't know why he has a robot face, though.
I do keep wondering, is that a face or a mask?
Yeah. It looks like it could be a mask due to how the eyes are made.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's referencing anything in myth. It's like Buddha's tusk.
Yeah. That's got to probably be like the mangaka's like what do you want to say, like I always keep forgetting this word, artistic interpretation or whatever the term, actual term is.
Artistic license?
Artistic license, yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
Next up, we have Anubis, the Egyptian god of death, that we have yet to see in the series.
I am very excited to see what they do with. I hope he's kind of like a werewolf character.
Yeah, I really hope they do the dog head thing. Because like anytime like they do like a version of Anubis in like Hollywood movies and he doesn't have like the dog head, like the biggest crime would be like that movie Gods of Egypt, where all the gods just look like regular people wearing golden armor. I'm like, boo! Where's
that might not be the case after seeing Beelzebub.
Oh yeah, Beelzebub. He's definitely in this as well. We have a
and he doesn't look like what you would expect, because Beelzebub, the Lord of the Flies, he actually looks. He actually has a very handsome face, but it looks like they're building him up to be some kind of mad scientist.
Oh, okay.
I've been used to the Castlevania depiction, which is the giant guy chained to a wall surrounded by flies.
Mine's
a Mothman. Mine's a Mothman-looking thing.
Hell yeah, dude.
And finally, we have Apollo, who is the Greek god of the sun, and I have no idea how they're going to depict him.
Well, like I said, I'm probably gonna go with him being an archer, like he was depicted a lot of times, so he can be fighting the sniper character.
Oh, right, you mentioned that. So, like, of all these characters that they've introduced, I'm definitely more interested in how the humans are going to be portrayed. Mostly because, like, from what we've seen there, I feel the gods are generally depicted how they are usually in mythology, save for their crazy designs. But for the humans, they really take a lot of liberties with artistic liberties, artistic license with these human characters and powers, especially powers, in order to help them how would I say, put them on the same playing field, or put them on equal standing ground with the gods. And I think they do so in very creative ways.
You also notice that the roster is mainly Greek and Norse gods compared to you think there'd be a lot more Shinto gods like Susanoo.
Yeah, or at least heck, throw in like fucking some Aztec gods in there, like Quetzalcoatl.
I would love to see like Quetzalcoatl. He would have been really cool in this.
Yeah. Where's my feathered snake? Damn it!
Because unfortunately, I think the only Quetzalcoatl most people are familiar with are the one that's in Dragon's Maid.
Oh, there's also one in Fate. There's also one in Fate.
Damn it all to hell.
Yeah, she's also a blonde-haired waifu, but she's also a fan of
Luchador. No,
she's also a Luchador fan.
Quetzalcoatl is a big-ass, scary, feathered dragon, damn it.
Who did take the form of a white blonde woman in myth.
And for some reason is a trucker hat wearing Shoto obsessed bitch in Dragon's Myth.
Hey, do not insult the titties in the trucker hat. That's what makes it great.
Look what they did to my boy.
Look at my trucker hat.
As a Mexican, I don't know how to feel about this. I like titties, but I also like dragon monsters.
Well, you have both, and have what Tiamat was in Babylonian myth, which was a dragon with tits.
Huh. Now that I don't like. It's like, I like the two, but I don't like them together.
I don't know how to feel about this.
It's like fruitcake. It's like fruitcake. The ingredients sound good, but not together.
It's like pineapple and ham, pineapple and on pizza. It's like, no thanks.
It's like poetry. It all rhymes.
Shut up, George. Get out of here.
Oh.
Let's see. So, in terms of the three fights that we have here, Lubu versus Thor, Adam versus Zeus, and Kojiro versus Sasaki. What are your guys' thoughts on each of these fights as they are presented in this first season?
My dog's going crazy.
No worries.
But mind if I go first?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure.
But now I will say it disappoints me that Thor and Lubu probably the worst fight.
Yeah, and it's really sucks, unfortunate, because this, like, for this is like your first impression. You gotta hit it out of the park. You can't afford, especially with 12 episodes.
Look who you got fighting.
What's that?
Yeah. Also, look who you have fighting. Yet have Lubu, who was one of the most powerful warriors in Chinese history, and then you have fucking Thor.
Mm-hmm.
So you think, and then you have the designs, which are pretty badass. So you think this would be an epic fight. It's really not.
Yeah. Once you know everything that went down and you look back at it, it's just Lubu does something, Thor blocks
Thor
it.
Shows off how great his posture is.
Yes, Thor does something and Lubu shows off his posture and muscles. And so it's just like, I hit you.
It gets better around the end, though.
Sure, yeah, but by that point, it's already been 4 episodes.
Yeah.
That's a big problem with this season. I feel like the pacing is too long here. They could have easily summed it up in 8 episodes than 12 episodes.
Yeah, sadly, a lot of people left the show because of the Lubu and Thor fight, which really breaks my heart.
Right. Yeah. There is some decent stuff to check out in this season, but unfortunately that it leaves a very bad first impression for a lot of people. Not for me personally, because I was definitely invested in the story itself.
But that's also the manga. It's also not good in the manga either, the fight.
Yeah. What did you thought the first fight, Random?
I mean, just to sort of piggyback off what everyone else has been saying, it felt like the most Dragon Ball Z fight, if you know what I'm going with that. Like, essentially, it was a lot of, let me explain what's happening. Let's have a flashback to something that happened before. Oh, Lubu moved his arm. Let's have another flashback and talk about things that happened. Oh, Thor flexed his eyebrow. Let's cut to the credits.
Virginia
Next
acted to
episode.
Mickey.
Yeah, it's like, the problem of it is, like, I mean, I was invested in the story. I like the character designs. I appreciate the fact we had a red-headed Thor for a change, because I know, right? More accurate to the mythology. But my problem with it is, it'd be like, as I just jokingly said, that Lubu would move his arm, and then we cut away to Bruntilda. It's like, oh, I'm going to explain everything about him now. It's like, can we just watch these two fight? Like, maybe if you would bother to introduce these characters individually, like maybe meet and greet sort of thing, and then we get to the fight. So it's like, I feel like you're trying to show off a badass fight, but at the same time, oh shit, we need to set these characters up. It's like, maybe if you'd set them up first and then we get to the fight, it wouldn't have felt so disjointed.
Oh, yeah. And I feel like they rectified that when they introduced Kojiro, where he's able to meet up with Brunhilde prior to his match.
Yeah, after that fight, they started to have them meet the humans before the fights.
I feel like this fight was essentially executed in a way where it's the most straightforward of the fight, where here are the two competitors, let's see them go at it, and now one of them dies.
It's meant to show you what you're in for.
Right. And I found it the idea where, like, these are all the humans are essentially already dead, and these are their souls living up in heaven. So when they die, they're dead for reals at that point. Their souls
are basically destroyed.
So how is Jack the Ripper there? Mass murderer, and he's in heaven. What?
He asked for forgiveness at the end.
Yes, he repented for his sins.
That's why I still look at his inclusion. It's like, so we have, like, you need the best of humanity to represent us, and you go with the guy who kills a bunch of broads in London.
Here's the thing, Random. I love that they actually mentioned that at the very end of, like, the last episode where it's revealed it's Jack the Ripper. We had actual people in the audience saying, like, why the fuck is he representing humanity?
It's like, really, Joan of Arc, King Arthur, possibly Blackbeard if you're feeling a bit adventurous, but no, we're going to go with essentially the Joker from old London town.
And his weird-looking mustache. The only thing I hate about his design is that mustache.
You're just jealous that you cannot have a mustache. I would have liked it if it was
like an all... I would have liked, most depictions of him is like an all black with the top hat, like that's, and you can't see his face. That's how I think sort of the pimp. Essentially, he's wearing like a bright red pimp costume. And I'm like, the fuck.
So from the looks of it, they're wanting to give all the characters a human-looking appearance. That way, you're not really rooting against either side. You're not seeing one side as the monster. You're not seeing one side as the hero.
I can kind of see that. I mean, I'm sure they want to make him as presentable as possible for people to want to root for. And by the way, I did find a random image of like a depiction of Jack the Ripper that I think they might have based it off of. Just send the image to you both of you on Discord right now. Yeah. I think they might have based off of this image here.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
But yeah, so
I did want to say one more thing. Sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
They definitely in the animation they definitely censored down. Are we allowed to do spoilers just yet?
Yeah, let's go into spoilers.
Well, the winner of this match was Thor, and Lubu's death was pretty gruesome, but it was a lot worse in the manga.
How so?
Well, you remember the last scene where Lubu, after ripping off his last arm, charges at Thor, and Thor took off his head.
Yes.
They went into detail what that looked like.
Oh.
And then after that, Thor swung his hammer, shaking off the remains of Lubu's face off his hammer.
I was just saying that just sounds pretty badass.
Yeah, so I was kind of upset they toned down his death, because that was a pretty gruesome death.
Oh yeah, definitely. I do appreciate that there is some gore on display in this Netflix series, but I was kind of honestly hoping for more. And I don't know if that's because they were also airing this anime on Japanese television, but I don't think so. I'm pretty sure this was
they did.
Yeah,
they did. It was all Netflix exclusive, which I will say it was probably a good call, especially with how many people kind of dropped out after the Thor and Lubu fight. It's probably good to make it where you can watch all of the episodes.
Oh yeah. This is. I would rather binge all of this, which I did over the course of 2 days, rather than wait week after week, given how not much happens in each of these early episodes.
Right.
And
because I think I don't know if this applies to you, but when each episode started up, when we were watching it, it said like a Netflix exclusive anime. So I don't know if that message popped up for you at all.
Yeah, it did for us as well.
Oh, okay,
but there is the one thing I did want to mention. But I want to talk about the opening, but I guess we can wait until we get to the animation part of that.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, we mentioned Lubu. Lubu's, despite being straightforward, that it also makes it the least interesting. And I definitely agree. Like I said, they're both badass designs and they're big characters, but the fight just wasn't that good. Yeah, and it's just like, one person throws a hit, blocks, throws a hit, blocks, throws a super hit, blocks, and then hit at the same time, and then one loses.
No, it did show that both sides are starting to respect each other, at least when it came to the fighters.
That is the thing I do like with this and the Atom fight, where each fighter has like a growing respect for each other, especially when it comes to like their respective gods coming to admire the abilities of their human opponents. I am curious to see how that will affect Zeus's character progression as the story continues, since he's still around. So, but
one thing we should probably mention is like in between each fight, they have like characters associated with the god and the human showing up for a bit of exposition.
Ooh, yes, I thought that was an interesting bit right there.
Because it first showed up. I mean, there's one character we couldn't figure out who it was, but during Thor versus Lubu, there was this spectacled gentleman, basically simping over Thor. Like, who was that again? We didn't quite catch his name.
That is absolutely amazing, by the way. Where each fight, you get characters associated with both the humans and the gods. It's definitely interesting when you see Jack the Ripper's fight, because you see people like Shakespeare, Arthur Conan Doyle.
Oh shit! And yeah, I do find it funny how like each, both Lubu and Thor each has their own fanboys simping over their respective fighters.
The one guy really wanted to be with Lubu.
Oh, so bad.
We want to die with Senpai too. It's just like, all right.
Like
even kind of like Thor's response. He's like, you just want their own charge and kill us too, Thor. We want to be with Senpai. Thor's just like, well, all right.
The Greek gods will look at this going, that's the gayest shit I've ever seen in my life.
And Loki sort of leans in and shouts, irony!
What was it? There was a joke that you made, Will, where it's like what was it? It was like Lubu was smiling, and then like you mentioned from the point of the fanboy, he's like, if only he smiled at me like that.
Yes. Yeah. But I remember you also made a joke too. Where he pulled out his lance and he said, "I wish he would give me his lance."
And then Thor does that creepy smile. You're like, "What the fuck?"
That actually scared me a bit.
He goes from Sephiroth to the Joker.
Yeah, I did not like his snarl, by the way.
That does remind me, if any character has the best facial reactions, I would have to give it to Brunhilde, where like she generally has this like very stoic demeanor for most of her appearances, but the moment she has an exaggerated like emotional breakdown, it's like the funniest shit ever. Like when she's
one of my favorite characters in the show. I also love her design.
Oh yeah, it's very cool. Although it's kind of a little strange how like everyone else has these sort of very European looking attire in terms of the Valkyries, and yet the youngest of the Valkyries, what's her name, Gol, has more modern style clothing.
I think that's meant to show she's younger.
Like, what was the deal with her? It's just like we see Brunhilde doing her thing, and she's got like this little scrappy do with her, and I'm like, what is this kid about?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say Goal was my least favorite character in this season, only because she's got one single gimmick, and that is to panic at the drop of a dime, at the drop of a hat. Like, I get that this is like a particular character archetype. I don't know if there's a name for this character archetype, like say the tsundere, but I'm just gonna call her the worry wart. And so she just constantly worrying, constantly panicking, constantly clinging on to her older sister. And she's the character who's meant to not know jack shit so that the other characters can explain to her and by proxy the audience what's going on. However, because
those characters are the worst.
Yeah. Tell you what, let's call her a narrative necessity.
True. But the thing is, like,
there we go.
I will say, here's the thing. So I know Will has a character just like of this character archetype, Momoko in your God's Wrath series. However, I will give credit. You do this character archetype way better than Goal is in this series, only because I actually like Momoko as a character because she's got more to you wrote more to this character than just she worries and panics a lot. She's interesting, whereas with Goal, there is like nothing to her aside from the panicking and being told what's happening. So it just gets repetitive and boring and annoying.
Yeah, though I will say she gets a lot better after Jag versus Hercules, because that's when real shit goes down in the story.
Okay, I mean, I do hope that that's the case, but just that we're only looking at this as a single standalone season, and so for her to have nothing to do other than scream and cling on to her to Brunhilde, it's just unfortunately not enough for her to win me over.
Yeah, the best way I can say is the first 3 fights are basically a tournament story. Jag versus Hercules is kind of when everything comes together.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Let's see. So moving into... Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, you mentioned this thing random earlier about this character moves an arm, these characters explain something. Another character takes a step forward, they explain something. This is something that I've seen a lot in anime, a lot of a trope that anime writers or manga writers easily write themselves into, where a character does something, they make a move, and then especially this is especially prevalent in battle anime or battle manga, where a character A goes, I'm about to make my move. Character B goes, ha, I was able to counter your move with my own attack. Now let me explain for the next 5 minutes how I did this counterattack.
You triggered my trap card.
Yeah, I guess you can call it the Yu-Gi-Oh effect. And then character A will be like, ha, you activated my counterattack to your counterattack. And now let me explain for the next 5 minutes how that was possible.
Yeah.
And yeah, so this season is definitely guilty of that, especially with the first fight.
It does remind me a lot of like the original run of Dragon Ball Z, because to be fair to Dragon Ball Z, it had the excuse of the manga was still being made while they were making the show. So for everyone who makes a joke that it takes Goku 65 episodes to throw a punch, well, tell that to the studio for making a show while the book wasn't even finished yet.
This is why
that's like making a Harry Potter. That's like making a Harry Potter film while JK's still writing it. It's like, have you finished writing the thing? Yeah, we haven't done the credits yet.
We got the filler.
Trust me, that already happened. It's called Game of Thrones. And this really makes me appreciate how they're doing anime these days with stuff like Demon Slayer, My Hero Academia.
God's Wrath, Whenever Divine, whatever.
Someday.
If only.
Primal Warrior Draco Azul, available now on Amazon and Comixology.
Please,
and the three of them get an Avengers crossover.
I mean, technically, that's what this title card is that the audience is seeing right now. Credit to JayVee for the amazing art.
Yeah. I mean, if he's listening, Reed looks amazing, and I love you for it. Thank you very much.
You know what's funny? It's the first time people are seeing my name associated with Sun, and they're probably confused why it's not Augustine or Bell.
That might be true, but then again, you do have a promo on your Crookedlore page for that.
And yours.
And mine, yes.
Oh god! Now I'm just picturing Augustine dressed as Brunhilde and Belle as the sidekick character.
I should have done that. Yeah. I should have done that. That would be great.
It's like, Master, why are all these gods fighting? Shut up! I'm trying to watch the show.
I want to have like JayVee draw like Augustine making the same face Brunhilde makes when she sees like the list of fighters on her phone. If you remember that.
Let's face it, her best reaction was during Sajiki's fight.
What was that?
Kojo, I choose you.
Oh yeah, she did that. And then like you had Gold who was like, really? We're doing this?
He did not just say fuck.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
She like casually drops his curse words, and it's like it took me aback for a bit because I've never really. It's been so long since I've heard cursing in an English anime dub before. But it's like that. I guess that's the benefit of making a Netflix anime as opposed to making something for television.
That's why Castlevania is so amazing.
Right?
Eat shit and die. Yes, fuck you.
Let's see.
And of course, the best line in the whole show, and God once again shits in my breakfast.
Let's see. So the next fight was Adam versus Zeus. Now, this was the fight that from the manga that got me into Record of Ragnarok. And I want to say it does justice for the most part, but I feel like the thing holding this back is the animation, especially near the very end. And this is something that has also been memed on a bit, where the fight literally devolves into a what do you call it? A
clip show?
Not a clip show. PowerPoint show. A PowerPoint slideshow.
Yeah. Though I will give it credit, the opening was really good at Adam's introduction.
Yes, that is true. Where you see like a
that
bunch
was
of
metal
Adam.
as fuck. And
Yes,
that's it. Nothing more Chad than showing up to a fight naked.
Right. This guy has zero shame. He gives zero fucks. I just love how like for the most part he has this very neutral expression, and then like the few times he smiles, he's like, I like this, where he's copying Zeus's moves. It's like, I think I'll take this move.
Yeah. Now, there was one scene in the manga they cut out from his introduction when he bit from the apple. It shows angels reacting in disgust.
Oh, okay. I forgot that part.
That would have been a cool thing to add, but it really wasn't important. So it's not like a big deal to me.
Yeah.
I like how his facial expressions, like he gave zero fucks throughout the entire thing.
There
Yes.
was also Aphrodite who was kind of aroused by seeing naked Adam.
Although let's be honest, she was kind of aroused by everybody.
That's
like half the dialogue was just brilliant there.
And let's see, and I like how with Zeus he was like constantly being one-upped by Adam every step of the way. But I do like how with this one, it was kind of like a reverse where Adam was dominating the fight for the most part, but then by the very end, Zeus ends up like getting up to Adam's level to the point where they're just both struggling, and at that point it's just anyone's fight, and there's definitely a lot of tension and suspense as you how do you say, as you honestly could not predict who was going to win.
I will say this. I absolutely love this depiction of Adam with his powers and everything.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because like he essentially has the Sharingan from Naruto.
Yeah, they actually took a line from the Bible and made it into his weapon. That's
the thing that kind of disappointed me because they explained that in the manga, but not in the anime. The anime did not mention the Bible whatsoever.
Okay. Because I didn't think it was strange. Like, wait, he's got like Mega Man powers where he can copy people's moves. Like, did I miss a verse in the Bible or something?
So apparently, in the Bible, it mentions that God gave Adam the gift of like the gift of sight, but like all-knowing sight, or like the special ability to see everything. And they took that. The writers took this and took this line and made like a literal translation. Not a literal interpretation of that, by saying that he can literally see everything so well, he can see any sort of move or attack coming from a mile away.
So he's Taskmaster.
Yeah, essentially, he's Taskmaster.
Though, Anders, you did bring up a good point when it came to his design. Kind of wish he didn't have a belly button, since technically he wasn't born that way.
Yeah.
Let's see, and I do like one thing that's improved here from the last fight was that the flashbacks don't feel as don't take as long. So like they don't feel like a distraction from the fight, because they They're there. They do just enough to show what Zeus has gone through to get to where he was when he beat his father Kronos, and they show what Adam went through when he and his wife Eve ended up being kicked out of the Garden of Eden and heaven as a whole.
Yeah.
Now,
because
I have to say this because this really bothers me. I'm sick and tired of people confusing Kronos the Titan with Kronos the God of Time.
It doesn't help the fact that they're both pronounced the same way.
No, yeah, well, technically it's Kronos. There's another version called that's spelled Kronos, but which is pretty much the time Kronos, but with a K.
So wait, so which is the one with the us?
Kronos is the original name, and that is the Titan.
Oh, okay. So my bad.
Yeah, but people keep on associating the two because of the name similarities.
That is true, yeah. And who knows? For all we know, they could be pronouncing it entirely different in the original Greek language.
Yeah, but yeah, they made Kronos the time god in this Kronos the Titan.
Oh, really? So they combined the two for Record of Ragnarok.
Yeah, because remember Zeus was able to basically stop time for a minute to use his attack.
Oh shit! Okay, I didn't know that was a reference to that. And
that's also apparently why Poseidon looks younger than Zeus, despite being his older brother.
I was about to ask that why Poseidon was younger, despite supposedly being older.
As someone told me, it's because since Kronos was the time god, Poseidon didn't age inside of him when he was eaten.
Okay then. But yeah, all right. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Also, we really need to talk about Zeus's opening, his introduction.
Oh, okay. So I would have liked it had it not been for the CGI that they used on Hermes, because it was very distracting for me personally.
Other than that, it was really accurate to the manga.
Yes, that is true. Yeah, and I did like how they were using, what was it? Was it Beethoven or Bach's theme? And then, like, you had the actual composer who was, like, weeping in tears.
The Slayer of the G-string.
Yeah. And they were, like, you had the actual composer in the audience actually, like, weeping in tears that they were playing, like, the most beautiful, most awe-inspiring rendition of his own music. And, like, earlier before, you had Adam, who was recreating the Michelangelo piece of him touching the finger of God, only with one of the Valkyries, which I forgot to mention. I like the idea that each Valkyrie turns into a weapon for the humans to use in order to go toe-to-toe with the gods, and that if the human dies, so too does the Valkyrie. And I do like that it helps add tension and adds a bit more emotional suspense, given that these are, I guess, Brunhilde and Gol's sisters, and so it adds a bit more emotional what's the word when investment. You're more emotionally invested because you're not only seeing these humans die, but also these characters' sisters potentially die as well.
Yeah,
and also it makes a bit of sense because like you're pitting man against God. It's like you should at least give the humans a fighting chance.
Right.
Now, one thing I will say, this is probably the saddest of the fights so far.
Yeah. I think it could have been done a little better had they had the budget for that animation. I remember somebody on Reddit made a great point. Well, not a great point, but made this line that I kind of agreed with, where it's like, this individual said, as good as it was, I wanted to cry from this moment.
Yeah.
And I couldn't. Like, it was good, but I feel like it could have been done better because I had seen because I had read the manga earlier.
Yeah, I don't think it's really due to the budget. I think it's because of the time, because they were only given 6 months to animate the whole series.
Oh, right, yeah. And that should be...
Which really not too bad for 6 months, but they should have been given like 3 more months.
Yeah, and not to mention that this is a studio that isn't known for making anime productions by themselves. This is a company, what's the name? I want to say Graphinica. Graphinica is an anime studio, an animation studio that does CG and 2D animation, and they tend to collaborate with other larger, more experienced animation studios to work on larger projects. So this is, I believe, their first time working on something by themselves. And so I think this was like they were not the right choice for this particular project. I mean, I'll give them credit where credit is due. They know how to replicate these designs from the manga, like to a T, but that also might be a detriment because of how detailed these character models are. It would make it more difficult on them to try to animate them.
What I think they should have done was actually during the fights to simplify the models a bit, the designs.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah. Especially between Zeus and Adam, which you could have simplified relatively easily and not even noticed because they aren't wearing much clothes and things like that.
Right. The only real detail there would be their muscles and pecs.
Yeah,
and
with
biceps.
muscles and which you can simplify very easily.
Yeah, that is definitely true there. Let's see. Any other? Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. So yeah, when they do recreate the whole Michelangelo pose, you had Michelangelo in the actual audience who was like fainting at the sight of how amazing this scene was that he was witnessing.
Yeah. Oh, should we talk about why each human's actually fighting, which isn't just the whole just to protect humanity thing?
Sure. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Yeah, well, Lubu was fighting because he just wanted to fight someone stronger, even showing in his past that he believed that the heavens are full of the true strongest people reside.
Right. Pretty simple and straightforward.
Yeah, Adams, I think, was probably the coolest one. He just sees all of humanity as his children, and he's fighting for his children.
Yes, and I did love that moment where like everybody, all the humans, just went silent and just like had a moment of respect for Adam. Everyone like united in tears of joy not tears of joy, but just tears of humbleness, I would say, upon hearing his words.
Or they just realize that they're looking at their dad naked.
Maybe.
Now, also, I wanted to say, not a big fan of Adam's voice. I kind of imagine him sounding younger.
Yeah, it did seem a little deeper for my tastes.
That's true. I can see that.
I guess they may want to sound deeper since he is the father of humanity, so they wanted to kind of give him a more mature sounding voice.
Possibly.
He's not mature. He's naked.
Hey, naked is mature, you know. Technically, it's also mature content.
Yeah, I need to bring this up because it shows that in his past when he was in Eden, all the gods were wearing clothes. Why didn't they give Adam and Eve clothes?
And also, why was the snake wearing modern day clothing?
That is also true. And also, I love that the snake was framing Eve for taking a bite of the apple when it's clearly fangs that bit into that apple.
All right, yeah. I'd say
really her fangs.
I say it was like I say the trial was rigged the whole time. Although I will say I do love like this is going to sound really weird, the balls on Adam for just taking a bite out of every single apple and then spitting it out as his own personal fuck you to the gods.
Yeah.
And also, I love
that a single fuck was given that day.
Mm-hmm. I also love that even after being kicked out of heaven, he still didn't wear clothes.
That is true. Yeah.
Yeah. Neither did Eve, but their kids did.
maybe Cain and Abel were like, yeah, maybe there's not a whole lot to this.
Mom and Dad ruined nudity.
Yes, exactly.
Also, why is Cain in heaven?
And why are they young?
Why is Jack the Ripper there?
He's like one of the first sins.
He's the first murderer, technically, right?
Yeah, so he's worse than Jack the Ripper. He started the trend.
Jack the Ripper passes him in the audience. He goes, "Gotta say, I'm a big fan."
I do like how like they made Cain like the more aggressive one, and like Abel the more sensitive one of the two brothers.
Yeah, that I do love how they try to fit in the personalities that were in their legend and history and actually play with them.
True.
Instead of making them actually hate each other, they're more just bickering brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, anything else for the Adam Zeus fight before we move on to the last one?
I will say Zeus's final form was terrifying.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought it was an interesting concept of him like just condensing all his muscles into something more solid and frightening and slimmed down.
And I did like they warped his voice too in that form to match his body. I think that was a good call.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I just wanted Adam to win that fight.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we can't get what we can't always get what
Hey,
we
his
want.
leaf survived. His leaf survived.
That is true. Let's see. I do kind of wonder, do you think the leaf is meant to exist, or do you think it's only there for the viewers to see?
Well,
It could
so
be
Zeus
just-
is pretty cool with going to fight a naked dude.
I think it's more or less like it's probably just there for like censorship or something. I don't know.
Right. So
Like, 'cause
anyway,
if they had their way, it probably would be flopping about.
maybe. So on to the final match of this season. It is Kojiro Sasaki versus Poseidon. Poseidon being this sort of like arrogant douche that I feel like you want to see get his ass handed to him.
And who I wanted to sound like base form Broly from Dragon Ball Abridged.
I'm a foot and a half taller than you, but whatever.
What was it? I did like how when it came to Poseidon, unlike the other two gods who came to respect their opponents, at no point did Poseidon ever do any of that. And so it was kind of like, I feel like that was done just to make it feel all the more rewarding when he ends up actually being killed. And even like moments before dying, he still has to get one more jab at the dirty human who beat him.
Yeah, Poseidon was the actual villain of all the fighters.
Oh, most definitely. And like the fact that they gave so much backstory to Kojiro, more so than Adam and Lubu, you could tell who was going to win this fight. Or you're like, yeah you're really
That's definitely a great underdog story, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. No doubt about that. I'm just saying, like, it made it obvious, like, where this fight was going, with so much attention being paid to Kojiro, not so much for Poseidon.
Yeah, I'd ask, what do you guys think of Poseidon's design?
Not what I was expecting, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. I wonder if like the artist took any inspiration from like Aquaman, because this does look like a very comic booky design.
I think when it comes to him being young, I think that's the opposite Kojiro.
No.
They decided to make older.
Well, not the young. I was just talking about like the blue outfit.
Yeah, that
I'm more used to like a guy with a beard and like the long flowing hair sort of thing, whereas this guy kind of didn't fit the bill.
True. I do wonder if like the artist or the guy, the people behind the designs, had this idea of just like making the most craziest designs imaginable for certain gods, and then going more traditional with other gods. But anyways, I've never heard of Kojiro before, and I feel like this series does a decent job at introducing the audience to who this character is as history's greatest loser, and then adding a very unique twist to said title. And I like the idea how this character had been fighting some of the greatest swordsmen in Japanese history, and that sure, he did lose every battle, but through every battle, he ended up getting stronger and stronger so that he can actually go up against tougher and tougher opponents. And it was through each of these battles that he eventually continued training in the afterlife to end up becoming the greatest swordsman who history sadly ignored.
I'm amazed they went with Kojiro instead of someone like Obunaga, who they kind of deitized it in Japanese history.
You mean Nobunaga?
Nobunaga? Yeah, Nobunaga. That's
yes. And the only reason why I know about Nobunaga is because he was stationed here in the city that I live in, Gifu. His castle is I've been to his castle on top of Mount Kinka. So he's like a super badass in Japanese history.
Yeah, I'm amazed he's not actually one of the fighters in this.
Yeah, but again, maybe he chose. The two writers chose Kojiro simply because it made for a better, more compelling story, perhaps.
Yeah, I did like his design in it because, like I said, the only other anime I've seen where they used him was in Fate's Stay Night, where he was one of the servants. And design, well, when it comes to Fate, he's pretty much the same with the hairstyle and everything, just older.
Okay, then. I was a bit confused at first because they mentioned that when you enter the stadium, you become the age that you are in your prime. And it appears that in the flashback, Kojiro died when he was young. yet he continued aging in the afterlife? That's what I was under the assumption of.
Look, it's heaven rules. It gets confusing.
I guess so.
Yeah.
It's also kind of funny. I mentioned this to Will, how this was like video game logic, where you technically have 2 lives. You lose your first life, go to heaven. Lose your last life, da 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 da. Game over.
No continues either.
No
Now,
continues.
one thing I actually really liked was Poseidon's backstory.
Yeah, I did like the idea of adding another god to the pantheon.
Another Greek god.
Another Greek god, yeah, the Greek god that got lost to history. And I did my research, and this god does not exist whatsoever.
Yeah, Giannis mentioned that to me as well.
Yeah, that's the point, because that shows how much power Poseidon had over the Greek gods, that he can actually erase the existence of a god.
Right, it's like this one god never existed, but never existed. Okay.
Yeah. He was sad. That god's English voice actor. He's one of the biggest voice actors in the series, right behind Shiva's, because he voices Scorpion in Mortal Kombat. He voices Dio in JoJo.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
You thought I was a god, but it was I, Dio.
Oh my god!
Actually, when he was dying, his last words were, "It wasn't I, Dio."
Oh man. But yeah, overall I would say this was like the best animated fight of the entire season. Definitely the most dramatic, the most compelling, and I feel like they really did the best job they could saving it for this, and it made for a decent climax for this season alone. Yeah.
Also, Poseidon's whistling was kind of creepy.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, he did do some of that. And they also tried to do the same shtick for Kojiro, where he's meant to be able to predict moves a bit like Adam, but they try to make it a point where it's fundamentally different. Essentially, he is just doing a bunch of simulations in his mind and then determining which of said simulations that his opponent is about to perform. So it's kind of a bit like Adam's, but like far more complex and more physically taxing on him. I like the idea where he goes through like 30 fights in his mind with Poseidon. Each one, he ends up dying a brutal death. And before even making the first move, Kojiro is already like sweating up a storm. He's like, fuck, this guy's good. But
Poseidon's looking at him like,
and let's see, what other moments were stood out for you from this fight?
I definitely think when the katana broke.
Oh yeah, that's right. It broke, and then he was able to have it. He grabbed onto one blade alone, like cutting it into his hand, and then just through sheer will alone, he's able to turn both pieces of the sword into 2 swords.
It also because the Valkyrie had 2 personalities.
Right. Oh, that's another thing that you could easily tell why Kojiro was going to win, because neither of the previous 2 Valkyries had real personalities. Meanwhile, with the third one, they gave her the gimmick, essentially, of having a split personality between the kind-hearted one and the I'm gonna fucking rip your guts out one. And so it's like, okay, clearly they're establishing her to be a reoccurring character. They're gonna go through the effort of giving her this gimmick. So that was like a little sign right there.
I also love the opposite personalities between Kojiro and Poseidon.
Yes, that is true. One is very respectful, one is extremely humble, and the other is Poseidon.
That was even a gag. Kojiro saw everything ahead of time. He predicted all the moves, but there was one thing he didn't predict. His opponent was Poseidon.
Yeah. And let's see, what else happened during this fight alone?
I also liked it when all the past warriors he fought against were cheering him on during the climax of the fight.
Let's see. Which one?
Of Kojiro versus Poseidon.
Right. Yeah. That was a very emotionally rewarding moment to have like all those individuals who kind of, even those who look down on him by the very end, have all had like nothing but the utmost respect for him as they continued cheering him on. And like even when he was at the very on the verge of giving up, he would hear their voices, and that was enough to motivate him to keep fighting.
And of course, Poseidon's defeat was also satisfying.
Oh, super, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's just one big, like, fuck you after the other. You know, chops off one arm, chops off the other arm, cuts his head off. It's like, yeah.
And Zeus was pretty like, well, the guy was an asshole, so...
Yeah, even he didn't care about the death.
We didn't like inviting him to the company picnic. He's just he keeps bringing sauerkraut. What an asshole!
It's like, you're actually doing us all a favor by getting rid of him. So yeah, after...
like, all I could think of when every time Poseidon did something, all I could think of was the guy who played Iago from Aladdin just screaming, "What an asshole!"
Oh, I did want to go back to Adam versus Zeus, because technically that wasn't supposed to be Adam versus Zeus. It was technically supposed to be Adam versus Shiva.
Oh, right.
Oh,
yeah. That was a great moment between Zeus and Shiva. They keep teasing Shiva for like for the second and third fights, and each time he's like, fuck, when is it going to be my turn? Damn it.
Yeah, his introduction, his first words are finally.
What was it? I love the scene between him and Zeus, where Zeus just puts his hand on his shoulder, and it's like, I want to fight. He's like, no, asshole.
He just kept repeating, this second fight's mine.
Yes.
He didn't say anything else.
No, not at all. And then for like the next fight, for what was it, the Hercules versus Jack the Ripper fight, it was supposed to be Shiva, but then like you had
I just found it.
Nice. You had like Zeus wrapped in bandages and Ares, and both of them were like, nah. They kill, as much as we don't like Poseidon, at the end of the day, they killed one of our own. Next fighter's gonna be a Greek.
I like how Shiva keeps getting buggered by the Greeks. Oh, the irony. If there's anyone who knows anything about buggery, it's the Greeks. But I digress.
Right. Let's see. So, yeah, we've pretty much gone over all the major events that occurred. Essentially, 3 fights, roughly 4 episodes dedicated per fight. So anything else that you guys wanted to talk about, want to bring? Oh yeah, I guess we kind of already delved into the animation of the art and animation of this series, and I did forget to mention that this is like the one talking point, aside from Aphrodite's, that everyone's been talking about, and
Aphrodite's,
Aphrotiggled biddies,
Aphrodittle biddy.
I did want to talk about the opening and ending, because there's something interesting I found out about both of them.
Go at it.
Well, first off, I grant what grant's due to the animators. They did make 3 alternate openings for each fight.
That I unfortunately missed out on, because I kept skipping every single intro after the first. I saw
like
the
first time. But what's really cool is that what's cool is the opening focuses on the gods, while the ending focuses a lot on the humans. Because you see a lot of teasers for what human fighters will get. You'll see a field of Spartan helmets and warriors. You'll see snipers walking through a snow.
Oh, okay. I again completely skipped over them because I was binge throughing them like a madman.
Yeah, but like I said, you get credit to the animators. They, like I said, they were limited with the time, but they were able to fit in a lot of stuff. Sadly, I wish they focused more into the fights.
Right, and this is a thing where like this is a series that is. Or a story. This is a story that's very light on plot, very light on characters, and puts all its eggs in the fighting basket. And so, yeah, for a show that advertises itself on nothing but fights, I can imagine that a lot of people were expecting like One Punch Man season 1 levels of fighting, and what they got instead was something on the level of One Punch Man season 2.
But with a better story.
I don't know. I had to say I like One Punch Man season 2 better for the story.
Really? I felt like the whole thing was filler to me.
I don't know. I feel like there was enough meat on the bones there for me to get into. But it's kind of strange because like both of them have roughly the same level of fights, but I like the story more for One Punch Man season 2 than this. And it's like, if this thing had an animation budget or an animation studio and team on the level of One Punch Man season 1, I think then you would have had something really special here that like everyone would love.
I think if they get a season 2, I think they'll hopefully get more time. And I'm not gonna say budget because, like I said, they did a good job with the 6 months they had, but they had more time. I think they could have made something a lot better.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
And they definitely need to go all out since Jack the Ripper versus Hercules is the fight.
Right. So do you think for season 2, most of the season's going to be Hercules versus Jack, or do you think they're going to have 3 more fights again?
It's definitely going to be the longest fight. I personally think they should make it into a movie, that fight.
Okay, yeah, a Netflix exclusive movie, perhaps, maybe.
Yeah, that way you get more of a budget too.
Right, yeah, and if you have it at 2 hours, it's essentially 4 episodes right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of like how they did that one episode of Dragon Ball Super where Goku was fighting Jiren for the first time. They made that like an hour-long special when it first premiered.
Right, and that had like a higher budget than any normal episode production. Or a more recent example would be Demon Slayer. Now, I don't know if Random, are you familiar with the Demon Slayer manga? Because it's like the biggest thing in Japan right now.
I'm sadly not.
Okay, so like Demon Slayer's the one that's been capturing Japan by storm. Everyone from kids to adults to even like middle-aged and senior citizens, they're all getting in on Demon Slayer. I haven't seen a manga this popular since Dragon Ball. So
oh shit.
Like everyone, like, so this was around the time when the Demon Slayer movie came out. And unlike Dragon Ball, where the movie is non-canon to the series, they actually adapted a portion of the Demon Slayer manga and turned that into a movie that takes place between seasons 1 and 2. Season 1 ends. The movie starts where season 1 ends, and so season 2 will start where the movie ends.
Yeah, season 1's ending actually leads up to the movie.
Yeah. So imagine like Dragon Ball Z, except the fight between Goku and Frieza was saved for a movie rather than seeing it on TV. That's essentially what they did.
That's what I think they should do with Jack versus Hercules. I think that's the best route to take it.
Possibly, I would be interested in seeing that.
Yeah, because like I said, it is the story. So you get more story in it for both the main story and between both Jack and Hercules,
and hopefully have an animation director that knows how to do something other than have characters moving at like very choppy frame rates or devolving a series to a fight scene to a series of a slideshow presentation.
Well, I will say this. You can say what you want about the animation, but it's not so bad it causes the manga to get canceled like that one Crunchyroll exclusive.
Oh, what was it? X Arm, I think?
Yeah.
Oh, have you seen X Arm, Random?
I'm afraid not. Because when you said Crunchyroll exclusive cancelled, I couldn't help but think of that one thing they crowdfunded that looks absolutely terrible.
That something spice thing.
High Guardian Spice. Yeah. Like, whatever happened to that?
What smells like a terrible cologne. It smells aggressive.
It should be called what it should. That show should have been called by its appropriate name, Pumpkin Spice Latte.
Let's see. Go ahead.
The people were acting like that. Oh, now the manga is going to get canceled because this looked terrible. I was like, guys, you're really over exaggerating how bad this looks. I've seen far worse animations.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, hell, if you're going to bring up X Arm, what about Berserk 2016?
Or all polygon animations.
Oh, ooh. Hey, well, Transformers Prime was all right.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'll give it that. But I mean, like the actual anime stuff, full-on anime stuff they tried doing.
Well, if you're going to mention Transformers, that god-awful Siege stuff has been abysmal.
Oh no, yeah. I will say that, yeah. Netflix does have a bit of a bad reputation in terms of their Netflix exclusive anime. From what I hear, they tend to treat their productions very cheaply. So yeah, that's definitely not a very good sign there. It's very possible.
Four words for you, Andres. We're from your future.
Now,
we'll get to that eventually.
yeah, but here's what I found really weird when it comes to Netflix animation, because a while back I watched another Netflix exclusive called High Rise Invasion.
Mm-hmm.
And the animation was really good in this, and I'm trying to figure out where's this at? What's this studio for Record of Ragnarok? Hell, what about the guys that made Castlevania? You think you'd gotten them on board and some of it?
Yeah, that is true. So some by the way, I sent Random a link to how bad X-Arm looks. If you click on the link there,
I'm just looking at the thumbnail and I'm like, JFC, man.
Just look at if you click on the link and look at the GIFs, you'll see how really bad the CG anime is.
But that's a derp face if I've ever seen one.
So anyways, so it seems like Netflix anime or like Netflix animated productions can be sort of hit and miss, depending on what the project is. So I can only imagine just how things are going to go for season 2, and I just really hope that they're able to learn from their lessons with season 1.
They could have also gone the Kengan Asura route, which was a entirely 3D anime series, which looks really good.
So, like, you're thinking they could potentially just change the art style or animation style completely?
I wouldn't say change the art style, but I would say they should get another studio involved, especially with things like the fight scenes.
Oh yeah. I think getting some more people involved could help.
Because, like I said, all the other scenes looked really good when it's the characters moving, talking. When it comes to fights, when it starts getting a bit choppy. That is true. Yeah. So I think they should get another studio involved, something like the studio did Kengan Asura, which is entirely fighting anime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that working out for them.
Yeah.
Any other? Do you have any other thoughts, Random?
Sorry, I was just laughing at those gifs you sent me.
Yeah, X-Arm is quite the shit show, and I think the manga I think the manga did finish, but there was like a sequel manga, and that got canceled recently.
Because of Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, people were saying, "Oh, it's gonna be the animation Record of Ragnarok is that bad." It's not.
Yeah,
I've seen worse than this.
Right. Yeah, I don't think. And you know what? If anything, it reminds me of like the worst Toei has produced. Because I've watched my fair share of Bleach back in the day, and there have been some really good episodes and some really lackluster episodes. And the same could be said for One Piece, from what I've heard from fans. There are some really good and well-animated episodes of One Piece, and some not so well-animated episodes of One Piece. Hell, Dragon Ball Super. I think, honestly, Dragon Ball Super, the worst of Dragon Ball Super, looks worse than the worst of Record of Ragnarok.
Yeah, I was just about to bring up Dragon Ball Super, because those first 2 arcs, I mean, my God.
I honestly think people just overhyped it too much. I didn't really overhype it as much because I read the manga. I just was curious how they were going to handle it. So I wasn't like disappointed with the outcome. I was more like, I could animate that a little better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think they had to actually fix Super on the DVD release just to sort of, make up for the mistake.
Yep. Same thing with Sailor Moon Crystal, from what I heard. Yeah. And JoJo Part 4.
Yeah. Oh, there was one Netflix anime that apparently started out the same like Record of Ragnarok, but improved tremendously in season 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Bakai, if I'm pronouncing it right.
Okay, I'm not familiar with that one. Oh, wait, you mean Baki? Grappler Baki?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I'm familiar with the title.
I know the manga creator for that is the father of the creator of Beastars.
Oh, okay, cool. I think
that's all I know of the series, though.
All right, then. So yeah, I guess is there anything else to mention about Record of Ragnarok before we go into final thoughts, since we've been at this for roughly 2 hours, I think?
I love the soundtrack.
Let's see, I'm trying to remember about the soundtrack, but
I mean, like Adam's opening and things like that.
Okay, I need to give it a second listen, but I do remember quite enjoying the soundtrack.
I also love the opening song because it's what you wanted for Record of Ragnarok.
That is true. Yes, I do remember
Heavy
that.
death metal playing.
Yes, absolutely. Let's see. I forgot to mention the more use. There's a lot of CGI used in here. Not as bad as when Hermes was playing the violin, but there is some crowd shots that use CGI. It's understandable, especially like the drummers playing when Lubu is fighting.
The crowd looked a lot better than Hermes, which is kind of disappointing.
The one part, there was one scene where you could tell you were looking at a crowd shot and you could see like the same like 7 illustrations copied and pasted throughout the entire crowd. So that I don't know, that looked a little iffy for me.
Yeah.
Also, apparently there's like, I keep seeing this Cthulhu god monster with like the octopus head, and yet, however, it's like the same character, but with different colored skin. Sometimes he's pink, sometimes he's green, sometimes he's blue.
I do love that in the Crown of the Gods, you see a bunch of different gods and things. You'll see Sun Wukong, you'll see Cthulhu.
Oh, you got to point out Sun Wukong to me. I missed out. I missed him.
Yeah. I keep forgetting Sun's it's a man.
There you go. Your cultural appropriation has warped your imagination.
Gender appropriation.
Hang on, I need to find a reaction to it.
I'm joking, of course. And let's see. So yeah, I guess at the end of the day, overall thoughts on Record of Ragnarok Season 1. You go first, Will.
I think it's a decent adaptation because, like I said, the first fight really isn't the greatest, even in the manga. The anime fight, I'm kind of disappointed in. Wish they'd done a bit more, but overall, I think it was a good job. I love the soundtrack for that fight. Kojiro versus Poseidon, best fight.
Yes,
I'd give it a 8 out of 10.
Really? Wow. Okay, then.
Just because, like I said, I think all the other stuff made up for the lack in animation, like the animation for when they weren't fighting, the voice actors, the soundtrack. I think all that makes up for the downfalls, in my opinion.
All right. Cool. And how about you, Random? We're not going by. Sorry, I was just gonna say we're not going by any like big rating system. You just go with whatever feels right for you.
I mean, I started watching the series by myself, and then Deanna's joined me for the latter half. I mean, I say this with the deepest respects, but we have not laughed that hard in ages. It's like,
and there's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, I get why people are upset with it, but in my mind, like, if you view it as a comedy, it's instantly transformed. It becomes one of the best fucking things I've ever seen.
It's definitely a comedy in there too. I mean, like, look at Aphrodite's tits, Brunhilde's reactions, things like that.
Adam's Adam in the buff.
Yeah.
Now I'm starting to see what's underneath the leaf. That was an actual line Zeus said in that, and I could not stop laughing.
It's not the most groundbreaking anime that I've seen. I liken it. The way I sort of look at it is, imagine if Mortal Kombat was a comedy.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the premise is kind of similar. I mean, the only real difference is that in Mortal Kombat, it's Shao Kahn has to sort of win a tournament a bunch of times in order to take over Earthrealm. Whereas in this case, it's more like gods go, humans suck, let's kill them. Oh, we've got to do a tournament. Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah, it definitely starts out as a comedy, and then it starts getting a bit more serious, but still a lot of comedy in it.
Yeah, I mean, Zeus is fucking hilarious. Aphrodite is fucking hilarious. I kind of like Loki being a little shit disturber. I mean, the only sort of downsides I have it is, like I said, it's just when it first started, it's kind of like, this is a weird comparison, but it's like when you watch the original Star Wars movie, you sort of plop straight into it and you're going, okay, who are these people? What's the setup? What am I content? And then they sort of feed you it as it goes along. Whereas this, it's kind of like, okay, we've all decided humans must die. Like, oh, whoa, is there a season I missed? And the other nitpick I've got with it is, like, again, this mainly applies to the Lubu Thor fight. Like, Thor would flex his eyebrow. Let's have 10 minutes to explain what just happened, or go into his backstory. It's like, I'd rather watch him hit somebody, But apart from all that, I mean, it does pick up immensely during Zeus versus Adam, which that introduction, I agree, is metal as fuck and hilarious. And it just, I would have liked Adam to win the fight, but there we go. But I will think by the final fight, it all kind of comes together, and I definitely got to rewatch this again at some point.
All right, awesome then. And yeah, I definitely agree with you two, with the both of you. I am definitely a fan of season 1. I can definitely see where people are coming from in terms of the lackluster presentation, in terms of the animation, but there was more than enough there for me to keep me entertained throughout. It's not the greatest. I feel like there's definitely been other anime out there that have done tournament stories better, like Dragon Ball, Yu Yu Hakusho, and the like. But honestly, this is a series that knows what it is and has a good time rolling with it. It knows the tricks of the trade. It knows the typical standard anime tropes and kind of like rolls with it and puts a very interesting spin on it in terms of taking a bunch of characters that you know from mythology and history and just going as over the top as possible and just continuing on and getting better as it goes along. So yeah, I like the story, like the characters. I like the ideas presented, and I think the animation, while it could have been a lot better, easily could have been a lot worse. So, and at which point it's just average for me, but everything else made for a very solid package. So I would definitely give this a recommendation to anyone who is fans of shonen centric tournament anime. Or essentially, if you're a fan of God's Wrath, Tournament of the Divine, available in paperback and Kindle, then I think this might be up your alley.
Oh shit, that's me.
So, who knows when season 2 is going to premiere? If there's even going to be a season 2, I sure hope so. I'm definitely invested. But if and when that day comes, you'll be sure to find all three of us here again, ready for another session involving, especially when it comes to Jack the Ripper and Hercules. And who knows, maybe we'll get a little bit of some Buddha action as well. So, where can people find you, Will?
Well, they can find me on my YouTube channel, Crookedlore Productions, my Facebook page, just Crookedlore. They can also read my novel series, God's Wrath, Tournament of the Divine. You'll find some great illustrations from both Denny Roth and my newest artist, Banana Takimura. I hope to God I'm pronouncing that last word right. And look out for our new manga coming out called The Crooked Man and His Not So Scary Crooked Cat Girl, done by the same artist who did our title card here.
Absolutely. And who is this talented individual, good sir?
His name is JayVee. Do not ask me to try to pronounce the rest of his name.
I'll be sure to put his links in the description below.
Please do. He is a great artist, and he does take commissions.
Absolutely. So be sure to check his work out if you enjoy this.
In the future.
Indeed. And where can people find you, Random?
People can find me at the usual Facebook page. I'm currently taking a break from doing sprite commissions because I have to get back to working on my own series. Shameless plug in there somewhere. Reopening in August. If anyone needs a good sprite, you know where to find me. It's not finished, but I'm still working on Chronicles of the Abyss, which is a first attempt at a written series starring the character you see in the title card, Rhiannon herself. And yeah, that's the places you can find me at. And don't worry about it.
All right, then. I guess if anyone ever wants to see your past body of work, they can check out your DeviantArt account, right?
Oh, well, it's not really. I'm still working on stuff there as well. It's just I'm taking a huge break from that because the Abyss has become kind of taking up most of my time at the moment. But I am trying to get back into making.
Right.
But
I am trying to get back into making. I am trying to get back to making sprite comics. I'm currently working on the review for Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, which should be a lot of fun.
Oh, right.
Same with my animations. I was more focused on my writing than I have my animations lately.
And same for me with my indie comic Primal Warrior Draco Azul over my usual YouTube stuff, which, speaking of which, you can check it out on Amazon, Kindle, Comixology in both digital and paperback formats, as well as my anthology, novel-length anthology, Primal Warrior Draco Azul Full Metal Chronicles, a collection of short stories that take place between issues 1 and 2 of the book. Issue 3 is currently in production and is set to come out roughly around December or January. And look forward to my next upcoming full-blown Draco Azul novel, Draco Azul Soulless Blood, co-written by me and our friend Ace Marok, or Marok, I believe. and also
Maroon?
Ace Maruk 5, and afterwards you can be sure to check out the crossover comic that Dracozool is a part of, Gural versus Sleipnir, a crossover between two ongoing kaiju webcomics, as well as featuring a bunch of cameos from the indie kaiju community, Dracozool included. I had a hand in co-writing the script as well as being a co-editor. And the first page has been, as of this recording, has been uploaded to both Tapas and Webtoons. So be sure to follow those to check it out as the pages are completed. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us on this awesome anime review. Hopefully you'll be able to follow each of our own individual works, as well as the next time that we'll be together again on this channel. So until next time, everybody, I have been Andres Perez, aka KaijuNoir.
I'm the godfather of the cosmos.
My name is Optimus Primal. We're from your future.
Oh god, is this going to be the next George Lucas?
Well, since you've mentioned me, my name is George Lucas. I created Star Wars.
Anyways, until next time, everybody, take care.
Aphrodite's titties.
Yes, always.